How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Gammill Cards channel. But today, we're not going to be opening cards. We are going to do some football content, and we're going to do our predictions for Week 1 of the 2023 NFL season. Super excited to get things kicked off September 7th, starting with the Lions at the Chiefs. So Gunnar and I are going to predict every week. The Chiefs are now without Travis Kelce, most likely, against the Lions, which will be interesting. As long as they have Mahomes, though, they still have a shot at winning anything. But the Lions have built themselves quite the team, so...
But they are missing a bunch of players to suspension, including Jameson Williams, their rookie wide receiver.
And don't forget, what's his name? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's out with injury, who's a good piece of their defense. They no longer have Jeff Okudah, who I know is not, spectacular. Third overall pick. He's still a corner. You got to think about that. This is an interesting matchup. I think it's a lot more even than people think. There's a lot of eyes on the Lions this year. So who are you picking, Gunnar?
I got the Chiefs just because the Lions' run game is new, so...
The Lions do have a bit of a new team. I want to see them succeed, but part of me just has to pick the Chiefs, I feel. But I will definitely be rooting for Detroit. I want them to do really well.
Yeah.
So that will be the Thursday game. The next game is going to be the Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is a divisional matchup. The NFC South is anyone's this year, really. You have Desmond Ridder for the Falcons, and then obviously the number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, starting for the Panthers.
With Adam Thielen now, so that's their number 1 guy.
They also picked up Miles Sanders this offseason. They picked up a tight end. Which one was it? It wasn't Dalton Schultz. It was, what's his name? Dallas Goedert, I think.
But a lot of downgrades. They lost Christian McCaffrey and they lost DJ Moore. Huge additions.
Right. DJ Moore, great receiver. What was I going to say? Brian Burns is also holding out. I think he'll play, but I know he wants an extension. He is their best player, in my opinion. It's going to be Bryce Young's first game. It's 2 young quarterbacks playing against each other. Interesting matchup. Who do you think has the upper hand here?
I think the new addition to Bijan gives the Falcons a win.
Yeah, I want to agree with Atlanta's run game. I just think they're more... Well, they're not complete. I just feel like it's Bryce Young's first game. I feel like, he's going to have to break into those shoes a bit. I'll take Atlanta also. I'm sure we'll have some disagreements coming up. Next up, though, this should be a pretty easy decision. We have the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens just paid Lamar Jackson a lump sum. He's obviously their best player. They drafted Zay Flowers.
And they got OBJ. Mark Andrews is back.
They got a ton of offensive weapons. Houston, they got some young guys. This is CJ Stroud's first start. I'm going to give this one to Baltimore.
I also give Baltimore the win.
Right. But I want CJ Stroud to do well also, and hopefully they pick things up. I just don't feel like Houston's going to have, much of a good year this year. Next up is Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns. This is the Battle of Ohio, the first one of the year. Joe Burrow is coming back for this game, which is very important. The Browns, I feel like, have a ton of talent. We'll see how Deshaun Watson does, but they still have Nick Chubb. They have a great receiver core, in my opinion. But the Browns are tricky. I feel like their franchise is headed in either... they'll be great or they're going to burn the whole thing to the ground because they're paying Deshaun Watson so much money to be their guy. But the Bengals are just so good. I don't know who to pick.
I got the Bengals by 17 points.
Gunnar is obviously very high on the Bengals. I might have to give this one to the Bengals too. All right. Next up, another divisional matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had a very weird but successful season last year, going against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are interesting. I just don't think they're going to be good.
They're too young. They don't have a player over 30 years old.
It's such a weird stat. Anthony Richardson's first start, the 3rd of the first-round quarterbacks taken this year. Jacksonville's so hot right now. They made it to the divisional round last year. I think they're trending upwards, and it's their season's in their hands. I'm taking Jacksonville in this one.
I as well.
Yep. All right, next up. This is a weird matchup for week 1. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Minnesota, I don't know how to feel about them. They just lost Dalvin Cook. They don't really have a defense. I think their only great starter on defense is either Danielle Hunter or Harrison Smith. Harrison Phillips, former Buffalo Bill. Yeah, but Tampa's a huge question mark. Again,
they got Mayfield this offseason, though.
Their division's up for grabs. I don't think they'll win it, though. But I guess I'll take Minnesota.
I will also take Minnesota.
Yeah, we'll see how the Buccaneers do, if they'll be in the running to get Caleb Williams this year.
And we'll see how Mike Evans is on his contract deal, see if they're ever going to do anything with him. His deadline was, I think, today.
Yeah, I know fans will definitely want to keep him. All right, next up. This is an interesting matchup. We have the Tennessee Titans taking on the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints, obviously, they just got a veteran at quarterback with Derek Carr. Some questions about injury, though. Their team, I feel like most of their starters are injury prone. And don't forget, we're looking at you, Michael Thomas. And don't forget, Alvin Kamara is suspended for the first 3 games of the season.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. The Tennessee Titans, they're another huge question mark, especially at the quarterback position. Obviously, they have Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, and they drafted Mr. Mayo. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Tennessee, they also got D-Hop this offseason.
That is true. And they still have Derrick Henry. So, this is an interesting matchup. If you want to look at the teams, I feel like Tennessee has a lot of the same guys they had last year, so they're more, I guess, ready. But I don't know. I just don't see Tennessee being very good this year. I really don't. So I'm going to give this one to New Orleans, but I don't know. I'd be surprised.
I'm also taking New Orleans here.
Yep, Gunnar's going to take New Orleans also. All right, next matchup. This is going to be a great game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what else do I need to say about these teams? Nick Bosa just got the bag. San Francisco's the most loaded roster. The only question is the quarterback position. We'll see how Brock Purdy does year 2. Pittsburgh, I feel like they had a great draft. They have Kenny Pickett and George Pickens, obviously the star rookies from last year, collecting a ton of cards of theirs. This is just such a good matchup, but I feel like San Francisco still has the edge. Wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh won, but I'm giving this one to San Fran.
I also have San Francisco. I have them by 2 scores.
2 scores. Interesting. All right, this one is a pretty crap game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Washington Commanders. Oh my God. What are the Cardinals doing? I mean, they still haven't announced who their starter is.
Yeah, they did.
No, that was expected to be Josh Dobbs. He'll most likely be the starter, but
he's going to get it.
Kyler Murray's out. I mean, J.J. Watt retired. D-Hop's gone. The Cardinals are a mess. I feel like everyone in the NFL knows that. Washington's in, a bit of a weird place also. We'll see how Sam Howell does. I hope he does really well. I know Washington fans are super happy now that Dan Snyder's gone. This game's sold out, by the way, here in Landover, Maryland. So, yeah, I mean, both teams are pretty bad. But I'm giving this one to Washington.
I have the Commanders destroying the Cardinals.
I want to destroying. That's interesting. We'll have to come back next week and see how that holds
Cardinals
up.
Lost D-Hop. They have no one at their best running back is James Conner.
Conner's not bad. All right, next game, divisional matchup. Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. Now, Green Bay is a new team now, it feels like. Aaron Rodgers is gone. I know. They still own Chicago, but they got Jordan Love at quarterback. This is his 4th year in the NFL and one of his first starts. I think this is his 3rd start ever on the team. Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs currently are questionable with injuries, which is really weird. They have a young receiver core with some question marks, and they're both injured. Chicago, obviously, I don't think is a good team personally. Big year for Justin Fields. This is the judgment year. It is. whether he's going to be their guy or not, because he's a great athlete. It's just he's not a good quarterback. They got him a ton of weapons this offseason, picking up DJ Moore. They drafted Darnell Wright in the first round. I mean, he has a ton of help on offense now. If he can't get it done, then he isn't the guy. Green Bay obviously has a ton of changes. These are both two fresh teams, but bitter rivals. Gunnar, who do you have in this one?
I have the Bears.
You know what? Yeah, I think I'll take the Bears too. I hate to choose the same team, but I just... You know what? Yeah, I'll take the Bears. This will be an interesting game, though. The Packers don't really have expectations going into this year, but hopefully they do well. All right, another divisional matchup coming up next. We have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Denver Broncos. Now, Vegas is in a bit of a weird spot because I thought they were going to be amazing last year, and then they were, pretty bad. They picked up Jimmy G, it's their quarterback in the offseason. They still have Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, stars like that on their team. Denver, I feel like
they didn't really go anywhere this offseason. They're kind of the same team.
Well, they added some offensive line pieces. They picked up Ben Powers, Mike McGlinchey from the 49ers. They still have a great receiver core. I think they're kind of getting slept on a little bit this year, to be honest with you. Yeah, they have Sean Payton as their head coach, which is a huge upgrade from Nathaniel Hackett. So to be honest with you, I'm going to pick the Broncos. I hope they do really well this year.
I got Jimmy G and the Raiders with that powerhouse offense with Devontae Adams, Michael Mayer.
And then they got Josh Jacobs back this year too.
Leading rusher last year. I got the Raiders.
Yeah, nice. All right, there we go. Our first difference. This will be another great game. We have the Miami Dolphins facing the Los Angeles Chargers. These are both great teams with great offenses. Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa, that 2020 quarterback draft class matchup. Yeah, both of these teams are just great. I mean, what else is there to say? The Chargers picking up, Quentin Johnston in the first round as one of their new receivers. Yeah, this is a great game. I want to hear who you have for this game.
I think the Chargers have a better offense and more weapons. I'm going the Chargers because Tua's still Tua, and I don't think he's fully developed as a QB yet. I feel like Herbert's better.
Here's the thing. I think Tua is still, a good quarterback. He's had flashes of brilliance last year. It was just the concerns with injury. I'm picking Miami in this game because I just think they are an amazing team. As much as it pains me as a Bills fan to pick them, I got Miami in that game. Next up is the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New England Patriots. The Eagles are easily one of, if not the best teams in a shadow of the NFC almost. I feel like they just don't really have any good teams, but the Eagles shine. They're the defending NFC champions, going against the Patriots, who are in kind of a weird spot.
Also the Super Bowl runner-ups, don't forget about that.
The Patriots picked up some players this offseason. They got Juju Smith-Schuster from the Chiefs, Zeke from the Cowboys. He's not going to be their starter, obviously, with Ramondre Stevenson.
Third down back.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not pick Philly in this game? Unless if you're a Patriots fan. I got Philly. What about you, Gunnar?
Philadelphia.
Yep. All right. We have a divisional matchup next. We have the Los Angeles Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams are a mess, and they know it, but they can still say they got the ring. I mean, I'm not really going to say anything. The Seahawks have been drafting very well these past couple of years. Give me Seattle.
I got Seattle. The Rams are without Cooper Kupp in this game also.
That's right. Yep.
He officially got ruled out, and I have the Rams finishing probably like fifth or bottom 5 in the league this year. So I got Seattle.
They're in the running for Caleb Williams. Sunday Night Football. This is a great game. We have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the New York Giants. The Giants obviously having a surprising year last year, to say the least. Daniel Jones just got paid a lot. They picked up Darren Waller this offseason.
Still got Saquon. He got
Yep.
his money.
They paid Dexter Lawrence a huge sum, also one of the best defensive tackles in the league. The Cowboys also picking up some great players. They picked up Stephon Gilmore. They picked up, who's the receiver? Brandon Cooks also. So they have some more stars to their name. It'll be interesting to see Tony Pollard this year as the starter, which he rightfully earned that spot. Should have been done a couple seasons ago. This is a great divisional game between two great teams, I think. Gunnar, who do you have?
I'm taking the Giants upsetting the Cowboys.
See, I am going to pick the Cowboys only because I think the Giants season, I feel like they're going to take a little bit of a step back, personally. I don't want to say it was a fluke, but, everything went right, it felt like, up until the second round of the playoffs. And finally, the game I've been waiting so long for, the Buffalo Mother-loving Bills against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. This is going to be a great game. The Bills, obviously, great roster going up against the Jets, who picked up a ton of great superstar pieces with Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, Alan Lazard. They still have their amazing rookies from last year with Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. I mean, this is just a great game between two divisional opponents. Now, I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. The reason why I'm picking the Bills, not because I would give my life so they would win a Super Bowl, but because I just feel like I want to say the Packers, because they basically are. The Jets have so many new pieces that I feel like are going to meld really well together later on in the season. But week one, they're going to have some growing pains. And I just feel like the Bills, because they have a lot of the same pieces as they did last year.
They upgraded. They had a good draft with Osiris Torrance. Obviously, my boy Dalton Kincaid here.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick the Bills. Would not be surprised if the Jets won, because it's just an unstoppable force against an immovable object. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Bills just because I feel like they're more complete. But later on in the season when they play again, wouldn't be shocked if the Jets have the upper hand. Gunner's obviously picking the Bills too. Yeah. And that will do it for the week one predictions. Gunnar and I had a lot of the same ones. I wrote them all down here in the notebook. Gunnar and I had a lot of the same teams, but we had a couple that were different, so we'll be monitoring those closely. Let us know if you want some more football content like this. We love talking football besides just cards, So make sure you guys check out our eBay links, see some cool cards. Let us know who your favorite team is and what you project their record is going to be this year in the comments. And we'll see you guys in the next one.